So today we're featuring these wonderful Intermountain HO scale FP9 units. Of course, these are in the CP Rail Action Red with the Pac-Man logo, as you can see. These particular locomotives would have run the rails back in the 1970s into the early 1980s. A lot of these units ended up going over to Via Rail when Via Rail was created and purchased both CP and CN stock and locomotives. These, as I've mentioned, are from Intermountain. Now, Intermountain's a wonderful model maker. I've got a number of their products. They're not quite as detailed as, say, a Rapido, but I think for the money, they are some of the best out there. These are DCC with sound. If we take a closer look, you'll see we have some independently applied grab irons. You've got the wipers, and that's on both of these units. These ones have the winterization hatch on the top. The grill work is pretty decent. We'll spin it around, take a look at the rest of the details on these. Very nicely done. They run beautifully, nice and smooth, great sound. They do have detailed interiors. The only thing they don't have is a locomotive crew, but I'm sure you could take the shell off and put a crew inside the cab if you wanted. Wonderful locomotives. So what we're going to do is we're going to lash these up and we're going to get them set up with some CP Rail passenger coaches, and we're going to emulate the Canadian, which was the passenger train that even today still runs, but now it's run by Via Rail. But back in the 1970s, early 80s, with these particular locomotives, the Action Reds, it was run by CP Rail. And I believe it ran as far back as the 1950s. I featured a 1950s version of it in another video. That's with the maroon livery. And if you're interested, you can go take a look at that. So we'll be right back with these and their cars on the track. And here we are back at the station with our FP9A units. And we also have an FPB. So this is FP9A 1414, FB unit 1909, and FP9A unit 1409. And we have it lashed up to a number of stainless steel Bud rail cars, prototypical to what you'd have seen on the rails with the Canadian as it plied the tracks from the 1950s all the way up to today in its Via Rail incarnation. So we're going to get it started up, running around the track, and then we'll take a closer look at it. So here we go. Now, as I mentioned, these are Intermountain FP9As. The FB is from Athearn, and the various Bud rail cars are Concore, and I believe the other ones are Lifelike, or Model Power perhaps. Beautiful consist, runs beautifully. No problem pulling these 9 cars, I believe. Get her up a little faster, pick up the speed a bit. Beautiful consist. Nice bright headlight. As I said, a great sounding horn. And we'll bring her back in. You can hear the engine cutting down, the brakes. And just let her sit there and idle. So again, Intermountain, nicely detailed. And again, the rail cars, those are Concours and Model Power. Not the most detailed, but they're good for what I need. I mean, if I wanted to go something that was a little more detailed, I could look at perhaps Walthers or Athearn or definitely the Rapido. But if you're on a bit of a budget, the Concours Model Power ones will do. I'm not the type of person who's always looking to be 100% prototypical. My rail lines are always sort of my own fantasy railways. So I'm not too concerned if it's 100% accurate or not, just so long as it's close. All right, we're going to get her going one more time around the track. Well, I hope you really enjoyed this video. I'm always happy to bring them to you. Nothing better in this world than some model railroading. And if you're not a model railroader, I hope someday these videos convince you to join the hobby. It's a great hobby to have. Thanks so much for watching. Take care.